Hello everyone, Azra here again, and today we're doing a bit of a different video that I haven't done before. Today we're interviewing teen writers and comic artists because I wanted to spread the word about these amazing stories that people usually like to ignore because people are teens. And I'm going to ask them a few questions that they'll give answers. And yeah, I'll tell them who those people are. So let's get into the video. Question 1. How did you come up with the idea for your story? I'm gonna answer first for myself. With Web of Fates, I first created Elliot because my friends were talking about spiders and wanted me to create a random character. So I put on some music, Honey I'm Home by Ghost and Pals to be exact. And I created Elliot. Soon I popped in Amber, popped in new characters, and originally Web of Fate was supposed to be completely different, with Elliot being the villain of the story instead of the main character, but I changed the script, yeah. Hi, I'm Emma. I started writing poems when I was about 8. I began just for a holiday where we had to buy gifts for each other and write a poem with it. Later I started writing stories as well. I'm not entirely sure where I originally came up with my characters, but I've had at least one of them for 2 to 3 years now. I haven't really found a piece of media that matches what kind of story I'm telling, but I take inspiration from all over. My story is about children saving the world, which has been done over and over again, and I'm not sure which one really got the bell ringing. At first, it was an OC I had made for a roleplay with me and my friends. But since we split, I extended the lore and with my other friend made a story for our OCs.
Hail and zealous greetings. So this is Aether, and this is my answers or responses to the questions. How did you come up with the idea for your story? I'm not really the best at remembering precisely how I came up with the idea of my story, because it's not like one big event, really. So basically, I attribute it to starting when I had this cool idea for what if angels used their halos to fly? Basically, what if instead of having wings, they use their halo? And from there, it was what if the halo was a thing of fabric, and the angels were sheep-like. Then from there, it kind of stopped for a bit, and then over a trip to Disney World, I was like, what if there was a fallen sheep angel? And from there, it just sort of became a whole thing in my mind that I was putting together. This whole world starting to come together at that point, with immortals and all kinds of crazy creatures and stuff, which does sort of naturally go into the second question. Did your story change, or do you have scrapped ideas?
Question 2. Did your story change, or did you have scrapped ideas? I definitely had scrapped ideas. The first ever idea for Web of Fate was that Elliot was a villain, and there was a group of kids that decided to explore a forest and came across Elliot, who was a spider-human hybrid, and he kind of trapped them there. And the whole point was them just escaping. There was this one chick, Chloe, that I kept in the original story, but changed her personality as well as Elliot's, who was into Elliot and tried flirting with him. and that's one bit. Later on, which you can this one that I'm about to say, you can actually see the shift in the story, because I changed Elliot to be a nerdy boy but kept his design. Then I realized that I can't keep his. I really liked his design, but the design doesn't match his nerdy personality. So in the middle of the story, somewhere in the beginning, his personality shifts into a more confident and cocky one. I do have a scrapped idea. It's inspired by Percy Jackson. This is in a fantasy world. This girl who lives on the streets, but she's a demigod, though doesn't know it yet. There's another one who is a demigod but lives on a magic island that's concealed from mortals and protected against monsters. Those borders fall, and I didn't get further than that, and it's probably explained badly. Sorry. Absolutely, my story has changes. Originally, two of my children were from entirely different stories, but the premise of the saving the world was pretty much the same. I've scrapped tons of maps, plot lines, even entire characters. Maybe perhaps one day I'll bring them back. Yes, my ideas were scrapped at first. The main character was supposed to be the son of Satan at first, but then we had the idea to create the 12 realms of the verse.
So yeah, very much changed, even just in formation. It was like quite a bit of change. Originally, sheep angels were gonna be like the only thing, but like now there's like a bunch of different lineages of angels. Lineage is the word I use for species, basically. And in terms of scrapped ideas, I don't really have any that come to mind. I'm absolutely certain that I've had some though.
Question 3. Do you ever find yourself in a creative block? I absolutely do. So many times, actually. One thing that I find that is helpful is that I outline my chapters. So I write what I absolutely want to write in a chapter shortly on a sticky note. Mark which chapter that is and stick it on my wall. So I know a little what I want to do. So that has helped me not get into creative blocks, but still I get into motivation blocks where I don't have motivation to do art. In that case, that's usually because of my ADHD. In that case, I just sit down, tell myself, just draw one line. And as soon as I draw that one line, my motivation is somehow magically back. If it's not, I just tell myself I'm burned out, I need a break, and I pause everything and just sit down, relax, take a break for a day, maybe two, depending on how burned out I am. And yeah, that's about it what helps me. Yes, I've had writer's block, but I'd stopped writing for a few days, but start on some fanfics and short stories. I often find myself in artist's block, and usually my way out of overcoming it is by reading one of the inspirations, scrolling through my several Pinterest boards, or watching videos on how to construct a good storyline. Yes, many. The way I usually got over them was getting on Roblox with the friend I'm writing the story with, and we roleplay the characters in the book.
Yes, I absolutely have. So, like, I was right on top of the project and I was like writing a bunch of stuff for it. And then it just sort of slowed down. I just sort of started running low on ideas. And so I just sort of naturally transitioned to working on my general art and character design stuff. Although recently I've been trying to get a little bit more back into my story.
Question 4. Do you have a specific time where you write/make art? Now that I'm on summer break, I actually do have a schedule that I've made for myself, which is hold on, let me get it for a second. I have a schedule for my comics, my videos, my everything. So this is the schedule. On Mondays, I sketch for 2 pages of my comic and then brainstorm some ideas. Then the rest of the day is just chill and doing whatever I want. Tuesday is writing, aka some of the scripts, maybe short stories if I don't feel like scripts, and editing some videos if I have them, and animation if I have ideas or an animation that I'm supposed to be working on. Wednesday is line work and coloring for the 2 pages that I've done on Monday. Also, there's writing if I get time, and prep/brainstorming for my comic, aka the writing on the sticky notes, the outlining. Tuesday is comics and editing, basically just finishing the 2 pages and editing some of the videos if I have them. Fridays are again animation and just basically chilling the rest of the day because I need some rest after everything. And maybe this schedule might change a little, and adding in the chill times I'm gonna add arts because soon Art 5 is going to start, so yeah. But during school I just make art whenever I can, usually after school, but I don't have a very specific time where I write. I write whenever the inspiration strikes me. This is often at inconvenient times, like in the middle of a class or at 1 a.m. Usually I just start writing whenever I can, usually at school if I'm done with all my work, at home in the late evenings.
No, not really. Not at all. It's just sort of whenever I have inspiration. I think it would be beneficial to have a set-aside time, and I'd probably get a lot more done. But at present, no.
Question 5. Is there anyone who has helped you in your journey? I'd say yes. It's usually my sister because she just lets me vent about my ideas and stories, and I show her some of my art and ask her if this is okay and if she thinks I should change something. She usually just says it's fine, but sometimes she does have actually good critical ideas, and she's amazing. My mom has always helped me with my writing, and Google Translate has as well. The people on Tumblr were helpful to me as well with tips and prompts. My friends are the biggest help. They read and proofread and ask questions about my story that I wouldn't have asked myself. Getting a second or third or fourth opinion on your story is one of the best ways to construct a good story. Yes, there was one person, my best friend, who is the author to our story.
So, yeah, there is. In the context of my storytelling for this world, I have a cousin, and he's also writing a story. And for a while, we were just like sort of bouncing ideas off of each other. It's really good to have someone you can like sort of put things into words for. Like, you can have all your story up in your head, but if you don't figure out how to tell it to other people, then you don't really have a proper story. And having someone who you just sort of share it with, I think is a very good idea. because they can also sort of help you to like figure out where in your story you can actually change things to make it a little bit better.
The sixth and last question is, do you have any do's and don'ts? My don'ts are, don't put off your work. I was a comic artist, and if you like say I'm waiting to get better at art, don't do that. Don't. You're gonna naturally just excel at your art skills no matter where you start. Look at my first pages and then look at my last pages. There's a giant difference. And if you decide that you want a comic, please make scripts, and please don't start with a giant idea right at the start. You are probably not gonna finish it. I started with 2 fan comics, with Murder Drones and with The Amazing Digital Circus. And I have scrapped those things. Never made scripts. Just went out of my head. I didn't finish those. I only made 4 pages for each and stopped. Right now, with Web of Fate, I'm really far in the story and I really love it and I have a good grip and I know what I can do and can't do. So because of those past experiences where I've been overworking myself. So make scripts, don't start with a giant story, and please outline your chapter ideas so that you don't try to skip an art block. If you're writing something, don't go staring at it for hours. Start something else or go for a walk. It helps clear your mind. Do. Write like you're running out of time. Write every day. Even if it's one word, even if you think it's terrible. Terrible writing is better than no writing at all. Make a Pinterest board or equivalent about your novel with sources of information. Skip the scenes you are excited about. Fill in the research later. Research, even if that means you know an absolute absurd amount about the 1500s, just to write one sentence. Don't. Go back and rewrite things before you've finished plotting. Overthink. I know it's hard, but the best thing you could do is just word vomit onto the page. Then decide if you'd like to keep it. Beat yourself down. You are your own worst critic. Just write. No, not really. No.
Let's see. I prepared 1 do and 1 don't, and then 1 more piece of advice. So, do research. Watch tutorials for writing, character design, whatever you are working on. And don't just watch one single tutorial like, oh, now I know how to write this kind of villain. No, like, watch a whole bunch of videos, as many as you can, really. Get like a wide variety of examples and viewpoints and opinions and stuff. Maybe even take notes of things you've noticed yourself in like movies that you've watched or books that you've read, or literally anything. Don't feel discouraged if it takes a while to finalize an idea. I'm gonna paraphrase Markiplier a bit here. He was working on his project and it wasn't going well in the moment, but he said this. Well, I'm paraphrasing what he said. It doesn't have to be good now to be good later. Sometimes ideas just won't be coming to you. It's natural to just sort of run out of ideas for a bit. So whenever you need to, you should try to take breaks. And who knows, maybe even during that break, you actually have the inspiration that you were struggling to get when you were just pressuring yourself into working. I'd also highly recommend listening to a bunch of music, especially of the vibes of like the world you are building. because there's quite a bit of world building / character stuff that I associate with specific music, and some world building aspects I would not have come up with without listening to music. So yeah, those are my responses. I don't know what to say. Farewell!
Well, that's about it, everyone, for this video. If you guys end up liking it, please tell me in the comments and tell me your thoughts and ideas. Maybe I'll make more of these videos, maybe I'll think of better questions. So far, this is the best I've done. And be sure to check out these artists and writers and everyone that was featured in this video. Take care and see you guys in the next video!